Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we will study important points related to flood and flood routing. We will study about various formulas that can be used to calculate the estimates of floods. We will also study about probability things, and we will also study the Gumbel's method and the Muskingum's method of channel routing. Now, what is flood? Suppose there is some river and it has some normal depth. Normal depth is represented by y0. This is the normal flow which is taking place in the river. If the flow takes place at its maximum possible value, then that is called as flood. This maximum possible flow has a chance that it can overtop the structure. It can overtop the dam, it can overtop the spillways, it can overtop any artificial or natural structure. That means if we design any structure, suppose we are designing a spillway for a high dam, then we will have to design that spillway by taking into account the maximum flow in the river. That means we have to take into consideration that what is the Q flood, what is the discharge that will be flowing in the case of flood in that river, so that we can design that spillway in the most efficient manner so that it does not overtop when such discharge is reached into that river. Now, on the basis of this, we have to consider different types of flood estimates. Like, suppose we are designing a spillway, or we are designing a normal spillway, we are designing a spillway for a high dam. There is a difference in both the cases. We do not take into account the most rare combination in case we are designing normal spillways. But if we are designing spillways for high dams, we also take into account the rare combinations. So depending on what is the flood estimate for a particular structure, there are several types of floods. The first type of flood is called as standard project flood. The short form of this is SPF. Now, what is standard project flood? See, this is the estimate of flood that is likely to occur from the most severe combinations of meteorological and hydrological conditions. That means we take into account the most severe possible combinations of the conditions that are prevailing in that particular area of hydrological and meteorological conditions. See, just remember that we do not take into account the extreme rare combinations in this case. The rare combinations means, suppose a flood has a return period of 500 years. Let me tell you what does return period means. Return period of 500 years means that this particular flood has a chance of occurrence of only once in 500 years. It can occur in any particular year among these 500 number of years. So this is called as the return period. So this is a very high return period. So during the lifetime of that particular dam or that particular spillway or that particular structure, so there is very less probability. The probability is 1 by 500. This is the probability that this particular flood will occur during the lifetime of the structure. So we do not take into account this particular rare combination in the case of standard project flood. So this is the first kind of flood. Now moving on to the second type. The second type is called as MPF, that means maximum probable flood. In this case, there is a difference in this. The SPF is usually around 80% of the MPF. In this case, we also take all the catastrophic conditions and the rare combinations as well. We take into account all the rare possible combinations in case of MPF and SPF. Since SPF is less than MPF, so SPF is 0.8 times of MPF. Maximum probable flood is greater than the standard project flood, since we take into account all the catastrophic conditions and all the extreme rare combinations in case of MPF, but we ignore them in case of standard project flood. Now the third case is probable maximum precipitation. Probable maximum precipitation, that means PMP. So what is this? The probable maximum precipitation can be defined as the greatest rainfall of a given duration that is physically possible over an area. See, precipitation can also lead to floods. So we have to take into account this also for some particular structures. So probable maximum precipitation means the maximum amount of precipitation that is physically possible over an area. Now the fourth type of flood is the design flood. What is design flood? Design flood is nothing but, suppose for a particular structure you take into account a flood of 10 years, return period of 10 years, then this can be called as a design flood. What is the definition of design flood? It is the flood adopted for the design of hydraulic structures like bridge, openings, spillways, etc. It can be any possible flood. It can be a MPF, it can be a standard project flood, it can be a PMP, or it can be any flood of any particular return period that we choose into designing our project. Now this is all about flood and types of flood. Now moving on to the formulas that can be used to calculate the discharge of flood. So there are three particular formulas. The first is, these are empirical formulas. First is the Dickens formula. Now what is the Dickens formula? The QP is equal to A to the power 3 by 4. What is A? A is the catchment area. And this catchment area is in kilometer squares. And CD is the coefficient or the constant of Dickens. So it can vary between 6 to 30. And you must remember that for what areas this Dickens formula is used. This Dickens formula is used for Central India and Northern India. So this is the Dickens formula. Now moving on to the second formula, and second formula is called as Rives formula. Now Rives formula is, this is the Rives formula, CR A to the power 2 by 3. A is again the catchment area in kilometers square, and it is used in, this formula can be applied for areas in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka and some parts of Andhra Pradesh as well. Now this value CR can be 6.8 for areas within 80 km from east coast. If an area is under 80 km from east coast, then the CR value is 6.8. You do not need to remember the values of CR. It will be given in the question. It can be 8.5 for areas that are 80 to 100 kilometers from the east coast, and this value is 10.2 for limited areas near the hills. If the area lies near the hills, then the value of CR will be 10.2. If the area is 80 kilometers from the eastern coast, then the value will be 6.8. And if it is 80 to 100 kilometers from the eastern coast, then the value of CR will be 8.5. Now moving on to the next formula. The next formula is called as the Inglis formula. And this formula can also be used to calculate the discharge of flood. This is 124A divided by A plus 10 to the 10.4 and the under root of this. A is again the catchment area in kilometer square. And remember, for all the formulas, Dickens formulas, Rives formulas and Inglis formula, the QP will be in meter cube per second. Now this formula can be used for the catchments that lie in Western Ghats of Maharashtra. This is a specific formula that is limited to this particular area only. If the catchment or if the structure has to be designed in an area that lies in Western Ghats of Maharashtra, then you will use the Inglis formula to calculate the discharge of flood. So this is all about the formulas, empirical formulas. Now, before moving on to some other formulas like Gumbel's method, we will discuss a probability thing. See, I already told you what is the return period of a flood. The return period of flood is designated by T. It is in years. suppose it is 10 years, then this 10 years will mean that this particular flood, which has a return period of 10 years, will signify that this flood has a chance that it will come once in this 10-year period. Similarly, a flood with return period of 200 years will mean that it will come once in 200 years. This is an interpreted possibility. So you can interpret that the flood which has such a least probability, see, this will come only once in 200 years. Hence, this particular flood will have lesser probability as compared to this flood. This flood has a probability that it will come only once in 10 years. So the probability can be calculated by once in 10 years. Similarly, the probability of this flood will be calculated by once in 200 years. So if you are given with the return period of any particular flood and the examiner asks you to calculate the probability of that flood occurrence, then you can calculate the probability of occurrence of that flood by 1 by t. You just need the return period of that flood and you can calculate the probability. What is probability? Probability means favorable outcomes divided by total outcomes. So the total is t and favorable is only once. The flood will come only once in t number of years. So 1 by t is the probability of occurrence of that flood. Now you know that sum of occurrence and non-occurrence is always equal to 1. This is denoted by p. So if I ask you that what is the probability that this particular flood will not occur, that means Q, probability of non-occurrence, will be calculated by 1 minus p, that is 1 minus 1 by t, that is t minus 1 divided by t. If I say that a flood has a return period of 20 years, then the probability of its occurrence will be 1 by 20 and the probability of non-occurrence will be t minus 1 is 19 and divided by t. Or you can also calculate it by 1 minus p, that is 1 minus 1 by 20 will also lead to 19 by 20. So this is the probability of non-occurrence of any particular flood. Now there is a formula that you might have studied in mathematics, that is NCR, p to the power r, q to the power n minus r. This is a probability for r number of years. Suppose if I ask you that a structure is designed for 5 particular years, suppose n is 5, then what is the probability that this structure will be overtopped in exactly 3 years? Then what you have to do, you will have to take the probability of first year. See, in this particular case, see, this formula can be used if I give you r and if I give you n. I have given you that you have to calculate the probability that the flood will overtop the structure in exactly 3rd year. Then it means that n is 5, c is c combination and r is 3. What is p? P is 1 by t, r is again 3, q is t minus 1 divided by t, and n minus r is 5 minus 3, it is 2. So this is how you can calculate the probability. Suppose if I ask you that what is the probability that the structure will be overtopped in at least 1 year. At least 1 year means 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 as well. But it should not overtop in the 0th year. So how will you calculate that? You have to put n as 5, c as c, r as 1. See, either you can solve this for R1, R2, R3, R4 and R5 and add them up, or you can solve it for R equals to 0 and subtract it from 1. This can also be the case. Similarly, if I ask you that what is the probability that the structure will overtop in at most 5 years. For this particular condition, you will have to solve it for only 5. For r equals to 5, or you can solve it from 1 minus 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but this will be a lengthier process. So you can solve it for r equals to 5. This will give you the probability of overtopping of the structure in at most 5 number of years. Now see, there are 2 terms related with probability. One is called as risk and one is called as reliability. See, risk means that the particular structure is at risk, that means in n number of years, at least once this particular flood will come. If this flood will come in 1 year, in this n number of years, suppose I have designed a particular structure and I said that the life of this structure is 5 years. Then what is the probability that a flood that has a return period of 20 years will overtop this structure in 5 number of years? Then you can calculate the probability of this. But if I ask you that what is the risk, then how can you define the risk? Risk is the probability of occurrence of at least once in n number of years. If this flood will come at least once in 5 number of years, then the structure will be at risk. What is reliability? Reliability is that this particular flood will never occur in this 5 number of years. It can occur in the 6th year. It can occur in the 7th year. It can occur in the 20th year. But it will not occur in this 5 number of years. This is called as reliability. Reliability will be in percentage. Suppose I say 70% is the reliability. That means I am 70% sure that this flood will not occur in 5 years. What is risk? Suppose risk is 30%. Reliability is 70%, risk will be 30% automatically. That means there is a risk of 30% only that this structure will be overtopped in 5 years. At least once this flood will occur in 5 years. So there is a formula related to risk and reliability. Let us first understand the reliability. Reliability is Q to the power n. Suppose I ask you the probability for 5 number of years. Then in the first year also the flood should not come, that means Q. In second year also the flood should not come. In third also, in fourth also, and fifth year also the flood should not come. So this is Q to the power n. Reliability is calculated by Q to the power n. Since all these years the flood should not come. So this is how you can calculate the reliability. Now what is risk? Risk is 1 minus reliability. So this means 1 minus Q to the power n. This can also be written as 1 minus P to the power n, since Q is 1 minus P. Similarly, this can also be written as 1 minus P to the power n. This is risk. Now the examiner will directly ask you, it will not ask you the probability of non-occurrence in a year or probability of occurrence at least once in n number of years. It will ask you directly that what is the risk associated with structure. Now if I ask you, suppose, let us take an example. Suppose I designed a structure. Suppose I designed a spillway and I designed it for a life of 2 years. And there is a flood that has a return period of 10 years. Now if I ask you that what is the reliability that this structure will be sustained in this n number of years, in this 2 number of years, then you know how to calculate the reliability. Reliability is Q to the power n. So first of all you can calculate P as 1 by 10. You can calculate Q as 9 by 10. You can calculate Q to the power n as 9 by 10 to the power 2. So this is reliability. Now if I ask you what is the risk, so risk will be calculated as 1 minus 9 by 10 ka square. So this is how you will calculate the risk associated with the structure. So this is all about probability. Now let us move on to the Gumbel's method. So before Gumbel's method, let me teach you Muskingum's equation. What is Muskingum equation? So Muskingum equation is a method of flood routing. It is used to calculate the flow of flood through a particular channel. What is this equation used for? What is this equation? What are the constants involved in this equation? We will learn all this in this particular topic. See, this is a hydrological method. Muskingum's equation is a hydrological method. And remember that it is only used to calculate the value of flood or for flood routing through channels. It is not used to calculate the value of flood flows through reservoirs. It is only used for channels and it is a hydrological method. Now let me tell you what is hydrological method and what is hydraulic method. So hydrological method is a method that uses continuity equation. And hydraulic method is a method that uses hydraulic. This is another method. Hydraulic method uses continuity and momentum equations both. So this particular method only involves continuity equation. It does not apply momentum equation at all. So it is a hydrological method and it is used for channel routing only. Now what is this equation. Let us study that. Suppose this is the upstream phase and this is the downstream phase at n minus 1th time, and this is for nth time. Suppose this is for 10th hour, so this will be for 9th hour. This is the upstream phase of a channel. This is the inflow at upstream phase of a, suppose there is a river or there is a particular channel. Then this is the upstream side and this is the downstream stretch of the river. Then this, at this upstream phase, there will be an inflow, there will be a discharge that will be inflowing into this channel at n minus 1th time. So this is this in minus 1. Now what is this qn minus 1? This qn minus 1 is the outflow discharge that is occurring through the upstream phase at 9th hour or the n minus 1th hour. Now this is the downstream section. This is in and this is qn. This is nth hour and this is nth hour. This is the inflow at the downstream phase at the 10th hour or the nth hour, and this is qn is the outflow discharge that is flowing through the downstream section at the nth hour. So I hope that you are clear with in minus 1, qn minus 1, in and qn. Now if the examiner will give you that at 9th hour the inflow is this, so this is in minus 1. Outflow is this, so this is qn minus 1. At the 10th hour the inflow is this, so it is in, and outflow at 10th hour is this, so it is qn. You must recognize that what the question says. If the question is giving you a data, then which data represents which particular variate. So you must remember all this. Now it can be used, this equation is basically used to calculate the value of this qn. The qn can be represented as c0 in plus c1 in minus 1 plus c2 qn minus 1. So this is the equation that is called as the Muskingum's equation. You are clear with in minus 1, qn minus 1 and qn. But what are c0, c1 and c2? So these are Muskingum's equation constant. And there is an equation that relates all the three constants is c0 plus c1 plus c2 is equal to 1. If the examiner gives you any of the two constants, it can ask you the value of third constant. You can use this equation to calculate the value of that third constant. Any of these constants can be negative, any of these constants can be positive depending on the channel. It depends purely on the channel. These constants depend on the channel. So you can calculate the value of qn using this equation, or you can calculate any other missing value. If the value of qn is given, it can ask you the value of in or in minus 1. But basically, generally, this method is used to calculate the value of qn. This is called as channel routing. You have to calculate that what will be the discharge that will be flowing through the channel at the downstream phase at nth hour. This is called as routing. You have to calculate that what discharge will flow in the channel at nth hour. This is called as routing. Now you can calculate the value of c0, c1 and c2 if the examiner gives you the value of x location, the constant k and the delta t, the time difference. If these three values are given you, then you can separately evaluate the value of c0, c1 and c2. How can you evaluate the value of c0? It is minus kx plus 0.5 delta t divided by k minus kx plus 0.5 delta t. So this is the value of c0. How can you evaluate the value of c1? c1 can be evaluated as kx plus 0.5 delta t divided by k minus kx plus 0.5 delta t. Similarly, you can evaluate the value of c2 as k minus kx minus 0.5 delta t divided by k minus kx plus 0.5 delta t. So if this time period, time difference, the constant k and the location x are given to you, then you can separately evaluate all these three constants. The examiner can ask you to evaluate any of these constants by giving you all the three values. So this is all about Muskingum's equation. Now further we will learn about the Gumbel's method and solve few questions related to the Gumbel's method. Thank you.